Welcome, friends, to Crazy Women Country, where women's voices matter. We bring you the greatest female voices in the music industry, from the artists, songwriters, and producers, to managers and executives, and all the women who make the music industry what it is today. Thank you for joining us.
Hello and welcome, guys, to another episode of Crazy Women Country. And today we have the very, and I mean very talented Lisa Stewart with us. How are you doing?
Doing great. How are you? Over there in Spain?
I'm doing fantastic, actually. It's nice that it's getting a little bit cooler. I like it a little bit cooler. It's nice.
Same here in Tennessee. Yeah, it's beautiful here. The leaves are all turning. It's these beautiful oranges and yellows. And it's just beautiful.
Nice. That's what we like. That's the one thing we miss about England, because you get that in England. You don't get it so much here. It kind of just sort of changes quickly here, but and they cut all the trees down, so you don't really see leaves much. But yeah, we do miss that. So the first question, which is probably the hardest question ever, who is Lisa Stewart?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is a mom. I mean, that's my priority. That's the why I do everything that I do. I have a 16-year-old son, and I mean, that's a huge part of who I am, is being his mom. And it motivates me to do the things I do to earn a living, the things that I enjoy, music and acting and writing music. So I guess those are some of the things that define what I do and who I am, you know. And I like to be a good friend to my friends. I like to travel and have adventure.
Definitely.
I like having fun. I mean, you know.
That is awesome. I have to ask, well, how does he find you being a singer? Is that something he's just like so thrilled about, or would you like, oh my God, Mom?
Well, it's something that I haven't really talked to him much about when he was little, because I was just mom. And then about a year ago, I invited him to one of my jazz shows, and he brought a friend, and he was just like, oh my God, I had no idea, Mom. It was really sweet. It was really sweet. I had no idea how he would react, but he actually really loved it and said, I want to come to all of your shows. So that made me feel really good, and I played him another album that I'd made years ago. Like in 96, I made a rock album, and I played that the other day for the first time. And he was like, he had a great reaction for that too. So I was really thrilled, really, and delighted that he felt that way,
That is awesome.
But on the daily, I'm mom,
You're just mom. Yeah. He doesn't see the rest of it. He just sees mom. That's very cool.
Yeah, for sure.
That is awesome. So I had the pleasure of listening to Butterfly and Bad for You. And I have to say they are just amazing songs. I've never really, I have to say, I'll be honest, I haven't really listened to much jazz, but your voice just blew me away. And if I close my eyes, I can imagine being in this old jazz club in like the 50s. Do you know what I mean? And it just gave me a feeling. I was just like, wow. So tell me a bit more about those songs.
Well, that's great that just listening to it sort of took you back in time, because that's what I like to do in my live shows. I like to dress in vintage clothing from the 40s and 50s, the hairstyle, the makeup, the whole thing. I like to sort of help people go to a different time. And so I'm so happy to hear that the music did that for you. And those are two songs that I wrote just recently. I found out that I was going to have some surgery that could actually keep me from ever being able to sing again. You can see my little scar right here.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, so before going into the studio, I mean, before this surgery happened, I thought I've got to write some new music and I've got to get in the studio. And I pulled it all together and had some amazing players. Chester Thompson plays drums on this project, and he played with Weather Report, Genesis, Santana, lots of great people. Alex Murphy on piano, Jacob Jezero on upright, and Andrew Carney on trumpet. So I pulled together my usual combo and went to the studio and recorded this music. And 2 days later, they slit my throat. And I was really happy to know that when I woke up, I could still speak. And I was on vocal rest for 8 weeks.
Oh, wow.
And I just had my first show a week ago.
Wow.
So, and I made it through, you know, so I'm really happy to be singing again. But I'll tell you, not being able to sing was depressing. It
It
was
must
so
be.
depressing. But I'm so happy. I'm feeling like I've got my wheels back on again, you know, it's feeling good.
Must be a whole new lease of life as well. Having that fear of knowing you could lose your talent and then having that it's back and this is,
Right.
this is
Right.
what
Because
you
it's
do.
not just my singing voice. I do voiceover work as well, and I'm an actor and I
Mm,
teach. So everything I do uses my voice. So I was sort of like, uh, I just thought if I can't use my voice, I'm going to have to completely redefine my life and my work, you know.
mm,
And I prayed about it a lot, and I was like, well, I'm in your hands, God, you know, whatever you're going to have me do. But I'll tell you, when I did this last show on Friday for the first time in 8 weeks, you know, I felt so grateful to be up there. And it felt very fresh because my voice felt a little different because they
mm.
removed something about this big from my,
Wow.
and so it changed the way I can control my voice. And
Mm.
it was like I had on some different shoes, you know. It was pretty wild, but it felt great. Felt great.
Fascinating. That is
Yeah.
amazing. That is really, really cool. But yeah, I have to say, I absolutely loved it. And your voice just sort of blew me away. So yeah, it definitely took me back. I was just sitting there thinking, can you imagine what those clubs were like in those days? It must have been
Right. Yeah. Well,
amazing. So
I would love to have gone into some of those places. Of course, I've done a lot of research and watched a lot of documentaries,
mm,
studied music history, and I love thinking about what it must have been like in the 40s and 50s in those clubs, hearing that great music,
mm,
walking in and there's Billie Holiday, or
yeah,
uh, hearing Chet Baker play in the 50s with the bird, you know, I mean, that would have been really, really cool.
it'd be an
Uh,
amazing era to be around, wouldn't it?
yeah, for sure. Plus, the wardrobe was fabulous.
Oh yeah.
The clothes are
There's
great.
always that as well.
Yeah, there's that.
So tell me about some of your heroes. So who are the women that inspired you?
Billie Holiday, whom I mentioned.
Yep.
Uh, I love her story of her, you know, all the things that she overcame
Mm,
and the things that she accomplished with such a difficult background and difficult
mm,
circumstances. She still managed to create music that we're still singing and talking about today.
mm,
Ella Fitzgerald, another person who had a difficult teen time, and you
mm,
know, she was an orphan at 15 and ran away and had a difficult time, but she discovered something that she had that helped her enjoy her life and help bring joy to other people too, you know.
mm,
But she is another one. Sarah Vaughan,
mm.
love her voice. And then there are people in country music too, like Patsy Cline,
Oh,
Tammy
yes.
Wynette. I mean, Tammy Wynette's a huge influence on me. Um, gosh, so many great singers out there that are influences. David Bowie is an influence on me. I mean, I love the chances that he would take with, you know, his stage show and wardrobe and these
Mm,
characters he would become. And I sort of become a character, you know, in my show, someone from another time. And it's
mm.
fun to do that and escape that way, you know.
It sounds awesome. That
Yeah.
does. So tell me, how did you get into jazz? I mean, I grew up in England when, my parents all listened to country music. My dad listened to rock, real ends of the spectrum here. But I never really listened to much jazz. It wasn't something that was ever, brought to me. So is that something your family was into, or was it just, something you found?
I remember watching television as a little girl, and there was this advertisement for a collection of jazz singers and female jazz singers.
Mm,
And I heard the music on this commercial, and I told my mom, I was like, oh, I love that music. And next thing I know, she had ordered that collection for
oh, wow.
me. And it came, and I just listened to it was all, they were all LPs or, you
Yeah.
know, vinyl. And I listened and listened and listened to all these beautiful singers. And, you know, that's where I fell in love with jazz. But like you, my parents listened to country music. My brother listened to rock and roll. There was a country station right by our house, and it came through all the speakers anywhere. Our church was nearby, and I would go to church and hear Loretta Lynn singing "Don't Come Home a Drinking with Lovin' on Your Mind" coming through the church speakers while the preacher was preaching. I mean, that's, so country music's also a huge part of my life,
Yeah.
and it inspires what I do as well. I mean, a lot of that stuff, a lot of Texas swing is derived from, all that stuff's connected.
Yeah. Yeah, they're all connected one way or another, don't they? They kind of
Yeah.
move through it. I must admit, when I first got into this, I didn't realize how the genre can break off into so many different, different ways. You've got your country rock and roll, your country rock, your country pop, and it can derive, it can disappear off in so many different ways. Which
Sure.
is it? Because music's not just one thing, is it? We all like something different. We all hear something different here. So
Yeah.
that's just
It's all
awesome.
subjective. We all have different, I think it was Louis Armstrong said, "It's all folk music. You've never heard a horse sing, have you?" It's
I love that.
all just music. It's all just music.
It is. It is. That is just so cool. But I think it's always great when it's written by the artist because obviously they have that connection to the songs.
Sure.
You
And
know.
yeah, when I wrote Butterfly, I was thinking about just all the transformation in life, and the difficult things that we go through and that we emerge from. And there's a line, "I float above my broken dreams." You have to,
Yeah.
right? And so that song is about transforming, but maybe not being what you thought it would be, but you are, and you just, sometimes it's better than what you thought your plan
Yeah.
was. But anyway,
Definitely.
that song. And then "Bad for Me" is a song that I wrote about a bad relationship. So it's pretty self-explanatory. And I think after performing that one a couple of times live, I've had a lot of people come up to me and tell me that they've been there before, and it touched them. So that's the point, is to be able to touch people and connect.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. So, what sort of venues do you like to play in? Do you like your bigger venues or your more intimate shows or?
Yeah, I prefer the more intimate shows. I love theaters and jazz clubs.
Mm,
I like them more because you can see people's faces, and you
yeah.
can, during your break, you can step down and chat with people, or after the show, it's, you can hang out and talk with people and really connect, in the
Mm,
big, which in my career I've performed in arenas and things like that. And it's sort of like well, it's been described as a Disney World parking lot. It's all sort of, you don't ever get to really get out and enjoy.
yeah.
You're
What does?
just you just go to the backstage, go in the green room, get on the stage, perform, and then you're back on the bus, back to the plane, whatever, and you're
Yeah.
out of there. So I love the more intimate things because I love meeting people and, connecting. And I've made a lot of friends all over the world, by doing that. So it's
Yeah.
really
I like hearing it. I like hearing that the artist prefer. I mean, I must admit, a lot of the artists that I've seen recently, I've gone back to England to watch or gone to Scotland, and a lot of them are playing in smaller venues, so you can get closer to the artist. You're not that, I mean, the big arenas are great, you get all these people, but you sit most of the time, especially for me, I'm so far back, I have to watch it on the screen, so you don't have that,
yeah.
connection where, as you say, the smaller ones you do have that connection, even if you're sort of near the back, you still feel closer than you
Right.
do in the arenas.
It's
So
the same from the stage too. I mean, because you can see people's faces and reactions, and it's right there, it's like it's a whole different experience, and I really prefer that.
yeah, definitely, I can understand that. I can understand. So tell me, what have you got planned for 2025?
Well, I love writing music. I plan on writing and recording more music, releasing music,
Mm,
um, doing live shows.
awesome.
Um, yeah, all that stuff, hopefully building my social media. So if you're listening out there, go to Lisa Stewart _real, REAL. I'm trying to build, Instagram, and I'm I'm
Amazing.
finally getting on board with TikTok.
Yeah,
Check me out there too.
The whole world.
Yeah, all that stuff, but that's another way that we connect with people, and and that people can find the shows and they can find the music, and
Yeah.
it's sort of it's an amazing platform, really. I mean,
Yeah.
it's great that we have that opportunity to you know chat with people, just show them what it's like. Hey, here I am in my kitchen,
Yeah.
making it this morning, or whatever it might be, just to get to know people.
Yeah, that's very, very cool. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. This has been so much fun. And thank
Yeah.
you for sharing your music, because it is just absolutely amazing. So yeah, make sure you check out Lisa Stewart. You will not be disappointed, and hopefully try and see her in the show, because it's absolutely awesome. So see you later, guys. Have a good one.
Bye.
I have to stop this 2 seconds. Oh, you can tell Donna does this.
If you enjoyed today's episode of Crazy Women Country, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. Be sure to click the subscribe button for new interviews weekly. And thank you, friends, for joining us today on Crazy Women Country, where women's voices matter.